G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Live on your Friday afternoon. Today we are previewing round 13, the easy one of the bye rounds, talking trade targets. We've got a big section of big boys coming up and answering your questions. Let's go!
Hodge has done it from nowhere. Hoisting the goal from inside the circle. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys Live show on your Friday afternoon. I am your host, Mitch Case, and you can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy, and joined by the big man himself, Luke Rogerson, mate. Welcome. We've got another Friday live show. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Week is done. Weekend starts now.
I haven't opened my beer yet because I've just been getting a gentle buzz on at the pub. I was putting hairs on my chest with a couple of golds at the pub before, mate. All the other teachers were on the Stonies, but not me, mate. Tough as they come on the golds.
Some taste over there at Stratton.
No, only from myself, mate. So I'm going to continue my journey on the golds this afternoon with the fantasy community.
Bit of loose Rojo this afternoon, maybe. Careful.
No, not me, mate. No, not me. Straight edge superstar, mate.
So, mate, we've got a big round coming up. Now, it's a fairly straightforward round, however, in terms of trading in players on their round 12 bye.
Oh, it's all straightforward for you up in the top 100, isn't it, you bastard?
Super easy, mate. I'm even flicking luxury premiums around.
Oh, he's mentioning the L word. Christ.
All right. So, but it's I feel like it's a pretty low key weekend that we're going to come into this one with our trades, but there's going to be a big segment. I want to go in depth today later on our big boys.
Okay.
Because I think captains are going to make or break our round this week. There's a lot of good options I feel this week. So
you're going to put the sunnies on?
We're going to get stuck. Of course, I'm going to put the sunnies on. You know, got to get it going. So
you little ripper.
I actually calculated the other day that so far my captains. This is just for my team. Can't speak for everyone else. But But I've been following the big boys. Obviously, they're my list.
Okay.
I'm averaging 123.5 points for my captains so far this year. With one captain below the ton for the year, which was Max. I can't remember what was the week that he had a down week randomly.
You haven't been doing the dirty on people, have you? Been recommending the
every single time I put the big boys up, I pick the highest one that I've got.
You recommend people that are not in your team that are going to go shit. So
no, not maybe not putting the moz on them, but yeah, no. So far so good on the captains, but hopefully that run can continue.
Well, did you put it on Dawson last night? Let's talk about last night's game.
I didn't put on Dawson, but he was on there. I tweeted out he was on there. He made number 7. A few people were, don't you know he's injured? But he came out and he looked good. The commentary did their best to try and moz him at halftime.
They tried to give him a proper moz and then
tried to get him in, but no, he said, we're going to keep going. And he looked better. Obviously, a lot of CBAs as well. I think he was the highest CBA midfielder for them last night with no Matt Crouch. Yep. So if you had his VC, obviously, I think you should take it. The other more interesting thing, I think, from last night, that you and I both launched into Billy Dowling.
Billy the Kid. Billy Donovan.
He had a quiet second quarter, but other than that, he went gangbusters. A lot of tackles, a lot of marks.
We don't pray injuries on anyone, of course. But there was a point where was it Ned McHenry, the sub, was warming up?
Yeah.
He was warming up. He was getting a little bit of this going on the sidelines, and it would just so coincided with Billy the Kid coming off, and I thought, fuck, we're done here.
Yeah.
We up.
And he wasn't on that good of a score at that time.
Correct.
Like 40-something.
I thought, we're cooked here, but the big fella, whatever his name is, Strawny, fell on his sword, and Billy, I think what Billy did from that point maybe earned him another game. He was that close to being a 3-time goal kicker in the last quarter to get them back in the game.
He kicked a goal. He had another attempt, a shot at goal.
Yeah, you mozzed him, you prick.
Yeah, he kicked it out in the full.
Actually, it wasn't you. It was Ellie. Ellie mozzed him.
Yeah, it was getting a bit close for Richmond there. It was like, heart versus head.
So I think he holds.
So he scores an 89. Now, we both looped him on. He's got the emergency there sitting for us. Correct. Does this change anything for you? Or do you think this changes anything for anyone else who maybe, have him on the bench, but maybe they've got a full line of their forwards or something like that going on? Or perhaps
I'm not that smart, mate. I'm not going to. I will ruin it if I do that. But maybe is it changing something for you potentially?
Potentially. So I was going to be sidewaysing a Butters towards Errol Goulden this week.
Yep.
To get just an extra player. I've got my upgrade happening in 2 trades. So I'm getting in Zach Fisher from Zach Reed, and I've got this third trade sitting there, and I don't really know what I can do with it. I can either fix up a red dot, but if I fix up, say, like a Hugo Garcia, I can't get that score on my field because I need that red dot to loop it on.
Yep.
So I
who are you going to fix it up with anyway?
Don't know. That's the thing as well.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
The other thing I could do is trade out a Darcy Wilson to, I don't know, like a McMullen or someone like that if he's not named the sub, or go a bit riskier and go to a Nick Hind. But now with that 89 sitting there, if I'm getting in another premium, I've already got 17 premiums playing this week because it's obviously the round 13. Well, I think most people will, right? So having 18 premiums there, and I've got an 89 from a rookie, how much of an upgrade am I actually getting by getting another player in? I'm potentially just cutting off an 80 or a 90 score off my best 22, my best 18 anyway. So I'm probably not good getting the full value's worth out of that trade.
So
I also don't know what else to do.
Well, so do you see it, if there is a rookie that presents himself to go to, you're seeing it as just cashing up potentially for what you want to do next week?
Potentially.
So like if we're talking for everyone else's purposes, is it dictated by what you intend to do next week? Are you intending to pay top dollar for Luke Ryan next week?
That's one option I could be doing. I could be doing that. I'm looking to get Zorko in. Zorko's my target next week. And so for those people who aren't getting Zorko in this week, I'd be trying to get him in. The Saints matchup is the thing that I'm looking at. He plays the Friday night, first game of the round as well. So prime VC. So I want to make sure I'm able to do that.
Yep.
I think I'll still be able to do it anyway, but it's just whether or not I could maybe get him and a Luke Ryan next week.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a bit of tough maths going on. It's going to depend on, maybe how some of these rookies go and if they score well to get their cash rise up. We saw Kane McAuliffe start as the sub and only scored 20, so his cash is going to halt pretty quickly. And it also will depend on a few games. So say, for example, there is an option where, like tonight, like a Bont goes back to being Camel Bont. Like, say he scores shit. Well,
it can't happen. It can't.
Well, then I'll go and get that premium in. So there's a lot of moving doors, I think, depending on how these other premiums go. But those are kind of how
you're crunching the numbers, mate. You got
the cogs are turning in
fucking
my brain.
formula, fucking flying everywhere. Now, look, we're going to talk about team reactions. I'm normally a fan of Boner staying in. But we would have liked to see Boner out, but he did stay in, unfortunately for us.
A lot of people had him in, some people had him out, so he's just in and out, But
it can be the way with Boner sometimes.
But no, he holds.
Bit of in and out, and he tends not to become a Boner anymore, if you know what I mean.
He finishes up real quick, at least for some of us. But yeah, he is someone who, do you trade him anyway? Is this something that maybe you shouldn't get tricked on? Maybe he was in your trade plans anyway. You see he's held, and so now you change your mind and keep him in there, and he drops a 70 or a 60 on you again? Or do you think that there's a chance that he is sort of like a best 18 scorer for you?
Yeah, there is a chance. That's the thing, is you're treating him like the best of your rookies almost now. It's to the point where if he is what you need to get rid of to get to the trade that you want, you're happy to do it. But if he can hang around and someone else can get you to that trade, then there's every chance that he drops 100 and you keep him in. Do you know what I mean? Like if I could trade, Harley Reid's not playing this week, so if I could trade him and get the trade that I want and I keep Bonner, hey, that's all good. Sure. But if I can't and I need to trade Bonner to get what I want,
I think obviously if you've got a Matt Crouch, he obviously goes.
Yep.
If you've got a Harley Reid, he goes. Those two are definitely trade priorities over Riley Bonner.
Wilson, if you can get Wilson to the guy you want, you do Wilson before Bonner.
Do you think Wilson outscores Bonner or Bonner outscores Wilson? That's a legit question, I think, because obviously the last couple of weeks, I think Wilson went under 60, but he also was
I think I'd still hold
flattened
Bonner.
by Harley Reid. You'd rather Bonner than Wilson?
I think I still would, eh?
I think I'm almost the other way around.
He's shown more of a ceiling.
True.
And this is bye rounds.
Okay. So Wilson out before Bonner.
Yeah.
All right. I think I can get around that.
For the ceiling on the bye rounds.
I think I can get around that. Do you think there's any risk of him being the sub? I'll read out I remember looking at the bench there.
I think he'd be stiff if he was.
Ooh, I like it. Just new ways to get some more penis jokes in there. Love that. So let me read out the bench for you because I do remember seeing it and it was pretty stacked. So you've got Hunter Clark, Dan Butler, Tim Membry, Riley Bonner, and Seb Ross.
Nah, plenty of sub names before the Bonner.
Yeah, okay. So Clark holds, Membry
Butler
holds.
Could be sub.
Either Ross or Butler could probably be subs ahead of Bonner. Hey?
Yep, correct.
I'm surprised they made no changes. That win is probably going to be to their detriment. But anyway, he holds another week, so I think you can still trade him, though. I mean, if he's someone that you want to trade, I still think that's all good to do. But maybe some others are priorities. The other only really one to flag on this one is Reece Stanley is back in for the Geelong Cats. Now, for those who have Grundy, that is going to be a big deal for them because going up against, who was the other ruckman for them? Toby Conway.
Yeah, Conway.
He was leaking points. He was going to be someone that potentially could have been a captain or a vice-captain shout because he gave up lots of points to, I think, Briggs and someone else recently as well. But with Reece Stanley back in, not necessarily for his own scoring, but for the people going up against him, I think that affects him there as well. Couple of sub-watchers on players like Toby McMullen, like Will Dawson. I think they're both very much seemed vesty to me, which led me to going Dowling last night. Because I don't know, some of the other guys, I think they have a chance to be in the green vest. And of course, we don't have the Pies and Melbourne game yet. That won't be there until Sunday. So players like Charlie Dean, Blake Howes maybe potentially back in after they got smacked around last weekend.
What's Harvey Harrison doing?
Yeah, what's Harvey Harrison doing? Sullivan, we'll have to wait and see on those guys. We won't know until Sunday, which does suck. But let's talk about your matchup this week. Who have you got in the Content Creators Cup?
I've got Jep.
Jepper.
I think it's going to be a cool matchup because we've got a lot of pods.
Okay.
So, sometimes you can fall into those matchups where the teams are essentially the same, but Jep and I have got pretty different teams, which is good. And he's going all right at the moment. I think he's in the head-to-head matchups, he's well above me there in the content creators. So if you haven't heard, of course, Content Creators Cup brought to you guys by Infinite Wealth. Guesty over there at the Fantasy Fanatics there, and they are offering a free gift up to $3,000 worth of value there for anyone playing AFL Fantasy. Just head over to infinitewealth.com.au/AFL Fantasy to claim that one. And, of course, listen to those guys after you jump off with us as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we might even be guest appearing in that one today.
Correctamundo.
Let's talk about some trade-in targets. Talking about the downgrades first. Now, number one, I've got the guy, obviously, we've already traded in, so it's a bit
Hindsight
useless.
hero.
Hindsight hero. I reckon he'll score 89 this round.
Fuck, you're good, mate.
Billy Dowling was number one. Just had the good scoring, but anyway, he's done, locked in. The next best, I think, is Toby McMullen and then Will Dawson, both coming off the round 12 bye. It seems to me like they could be in the vest. But they both play relatively early enough in the round that you'll be able to know. I think the Giants especially play the first game on the Saturday, and then North Melbourne plays the second game on the Saturday. So hopefully that doesn't affect a few of your moves, and you can do a quick little edit trade if they are named the sub, if need be. And then I've got Charlie Dean at 4, and then you could probably also throw in the Eagles rookie, although they have the bye next week, so I'm thinking you just wait 1 week and then hopefully get him off his bye in round 15. So slim pickings this week to me.
Am I right in saying this time of the season as well, as much as we do want to downgrade to a guy that's going to generate a lot of cash, we don't want our cash gen to stall completely.
Yeah.
But if it does come to a point where you need to trade in a guy that maybe you're not as confident on as your downgrade to get the upgrade you need, is this the time of year where you can be a bit cheeky?
I don't think so during the bye rounds.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on how full your team is, especially, probably not this week, but especially next week and round 15.
Okay.
Because I think round 15, we've got a lot of players going to be on the bye. So all the rookies we've been trading in, players have been bringing in, like people like Will Day, Jack Crisp. We've got, Nazai Wanganeen-Miller,
we've
Walsh.
got Dacos.
Nick Dacos,
Steele,
Dawson,
Bond.
Steele. A lot of these guys, the rucks, are all on the bye. So there's a lot of players on the bye in round 15. So I do think you're still going to want players to at least be heartbeats.
Yep.
Now, they might not be smash-out scorers, but everyone's got a chance. Like, even fucking Charlie Dean scored 70 last week. So you want a heartbeat there, and you never know. They could do something. Other players that are a bit more expensive you could have a look at, Bruce Revel, who for the Lions, he's got a break even at 8, and Ryan Angwin for the Giants also with a break even of 8. They're sort of more than 350,000, so you're paying up a little bit there. But like I said, I do think depending on how many numbers you have, you probably can look at some of those guys as a heartbeat, and they are also obviously coming off their bye. So,
what about guys that we want to go up to potentially?
So trade up targets. This is my official rankings. Number 1, I think Zach Fisher is the number 1 trade target for the week. He just seems like he's a clear top 6 forward. He's still value price, I think 87 I last checked. And yeah, just a filthy roll. Good matchups coming up.
It is.
Tom Green, super value as well. He's the cheapest of or maybe slightly a little bit more expensive than Zach Fisher, but I think he can be a 110 averaging sort of player from here. I expect him to have a much better second half of the year. And then this is going to be a question I think I've already seen in the chat there below, but Errol Goulden I have ahead of Dunkley.
Okay.
Simply for the instant reward this week and just that little bit of extra value. It might be the difference between you getting in a Zorko and a Luke Ryan over these next couple of weeks, those more expensive players.
So just do the math on that one.
Yeah, so I think I would say I'd have Dunkley to average more for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I had to put some money on it, but I don't think it'll be by much. And I think you're going to get a good instant reward this week with Errol against the Cats. He's not going to get tagged by anyone. Heaney and Warner are going to get all the attention. So Errol's going to be free to do his thing. And we haven't seen a huge ceiling from him yet, but I still think he's got something there.
The name that I'm surprised to see this low on the list is Dane Zorko. And let's sort of flesh it out a little bit because he obviously is a guy that at the moment is averaging an absurd amount of points on a line where we have barely any points. And I think the interesting part about this is that, like, let's say 5-6 weeks ago, Zach Fisher wouldn't have been on this list.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he's come into calculations. Everyone was already sort of eyeing off Tom Green, but I think everyone knows that if Zorko keeps doing what Zorko's doing, you have to have him at some point.
You do.
Is this not the time to get him?
It definitely could be the time to get him. I am personally trying to look at him for next week, but it is someone that you're going to want at some point. So
Yeah.
I think it is fine to get him in. I just personally, if I haven't got those guys ahead of him, I'm going there first, watching him for at least one more week, see how things, like some people are maybe a little bit concerned about Starcevic coming back into the team. He's got the matchup against the Bulldogs, which is traditionally been a good matchup for halfbackers, but this year it's actually not been super positive. It's kind of a neutral matchup.
Is it also the fact that those other guys are so much value at the moment that they're going to get away from you? Like,
They're
there's
gonna
every
go
chance that you get Zorko cheaper than what you would this week.
Yeah, he's got a 130 break even, I think. So just want to have one more week to have a look at it if I don't have some of those other guys. If I do have some of those guys or I'm desperate for a forward, then yes, I would still tick off trading him in. I think he's a fine trade-in target. But
some of us already, unfortunately, own Zorks.
Unfortunately, mate, what do you mean?
Forced into
on your fork?
Yeah, it was good. I've got 80 points on my fork at the moment. 80 divided by 1.
Paid $1 million for those 80. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Any upgrade needs to be around 12 by player.
Okay.
I strongly do not endorse trading in a Crisp, a Will Day, or any of those guys who are potentially good trading targets but have their buy upcoming. I want those guys coming off the buy. Simply just get that extra game in. Unless you don't care about your rank and you're just doing it for league matchups, then it doesn't matter as much. You just get the guy. But if your goal is rank, you need the round 12 guy.
Can I be somewhat selfish, but also ask a question I think other people ask as well? Fisher, in terms of a buy round upgrade target, is actually reasonably cheap. I actually think there'll be a few people in my category this week where... Oh, he's getting the glasses ready, everyone. Goodness me. Where Fisher can be an upgrade, and you might even be able to sneak a second upgrade to a cheaper guy. So can we talk about LDU and Lockie Neal?
Yeah. I'll throw in, although I think he's a bit more expensive, Chad Warner into that group as well. I like, of those three, LDU.
He's coming off a good 3-game stretch, and he's coming into a good 2-game run.
And we've just seen him go on these stretches before where he's 110 averaging mid.
Correct. Yeah.
And this might be one of those. West Coast this week with a few injuries at West Coast as well, and then he goes into Collingwood, Melbourne, and the Bulldogs. All three of those teams don't tag, so to me, it's a good run for him. I don't think he's going to be top 8 mid, but I think he's kind of that type where you get him in luxury trade season, you try and get him up to a top dog after that.
If this is like your only thing you're going to this week, it doesn't feel as good as going to a Fisher, a Green, as Zorko. I mean, I'd be shocked if there's a team that has all three of... there will be, of course, but that a lot of teams that have Fisher, Green, and Zorko. So one of those guys is going to be the priority. But if this is your second, I don't so much mind it. And the thing about this is that, if this is a 2-week play and then your team's complete and suddenly you realize, hey, he's averaging 95 and it's not going to cut the mustard and I now need to shift him as my first luxury trade, it's you didn't. If you have, let's say it's Sharp versus LDU.
I'm back in LDU.
Exactly. Sharp's doing well, but you're still taking LDU.
Sharp drops an 80 and you're like, okay, cool. LDU drops an 80 and you're like, oh, that sucks. Do you know what I mean? Which tells you kind of what you expect out of those two players and where they're going to be at. So,
so LDU, Neal, Warner?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, Warner's bloody good, but it's because he's so good that I think he might get a bit of attention.
Yeah. There's every chance that he gets a bit of attention this week from Bliss Halves, potentially.
I think he's just a smaller body than someone like a Heaney, but
it's fair.
It wouldn't surprise me. He's been a gun. He's kicked 20 goals this year. He's bloody weapon.
We won't hold you up any longer, mate. We want to answer some questions, but before that, we need to talk big boys.
Big boy, I need a big boy. Give me a big boy.
Woo! Let's go. We're talking big boys. We are diving deep this week because, like I said off the top, mate.
Deep impact.
Yeah, very deep impact.
Let's go.
Trade's pretty straightforward. It's the advice across all the podcasts is pretty similar. So where I think a lot of people are going to get the go-ahead is going to be where they put their captaincy, where they put their vice-captaincy, where they put their captaincy. So, top 5. I've got the 2 biggest of boys up the top there in Max Gawn and Rowan Marshall. Now, Collingwood, you look on the DFS Australia, you look on the scale of hardness, and Collingwood are traditionally a red team, but That was with the big Cox there.
Big Cox.
Big Cox. He's no longer there, so he's out. And traditionally, when it's just been Darcy Cameron, there's been a lot of players that go big against Darcy Cameron. So I want to read out some scores here of players that have gone up against
While you
Darcy
read them out, I'll check the moist meter. Okay, go. I'm ready.
Okay, we've got Tim English 116.
Ooh.
Ned Reeves went 95 against him. Reece Stanley went 80, which, it's Reece Stanley. Nank went 120. Witts went 103. Nank went 118 again. Jordan Sweet 86. And a Sean Darcy 126. So only, 3 scores below 100. Only 2 scores below 80.
Moist meter confirmed it. It was pretty good.
Moist meter confirms it's pretty good. So I think
good.
Max is going to take this one by the horns. Obviously, they've come off a really shit loss against Freo. Big game at the Big Freeze. I feel like he's going to step up.
There has to be a response there. Max is gone, but Max seems like a very proud man, and I think there's going to be something, regardless of how sore he is. He might do a fitness test. I don't care. I reckon he's going to have this one penciled in for an absolute monster.
In terms of ceiling, Max has got 6 scores on the season over 120, and he's also missed an extra game than some of these other guys when it comes to obviously the early bye as well. So. No one else is touching that frequency of ceiling of a Max score.
When you see this kind of game, you're like, this is perfect. But you just wish you could put a VC on it. You feel so good about this that you just like, I want to get this out of the road. I want to put this VC on it. But it's a C. We're rolling into C. So who are we putting the VC on?
So the VC for me, I'm looking for ceiling this week. I want to go someone really big. So the guy I think that's going to give the potential for the highest ceiling score is Sam Flanders at number 3. Listen to some of these scores that opponents have put up against the Saints this year. So Christian Salem has put up a 133 against them most recently. Jordan Clark put up a 141 and Luke Ryan 126 in the same game. Bailey Dale earlier in the year went 160 against them.
God.
Lockie Whitfield
was coming off a sub
went
too.
120. Jason Johannesson scored a 126 against the Saints, and Nick Martin scored a 125. So there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scores over 120 against the Saints from all those halfbackers this season. I think that there's a big chance that Flanders puts up a ceiling score.
Flanders is as spongy as they come to. He is absorbing yellow
guy.
and porous as he.
He's very, very thirsty.
What I find it a little interesting when you have such a Max Gawn, captain, great matchup. Yeah. This is one you just think is going to be big. Does that then raise your bar for...
take the VC line.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm always a bit of a pussy with those because I feel like if something goes wrong or I'd be so dirty at myself.
So 110
it's
still the
still
line?
110 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's still 110. I'm probably this time not taking a 109, but... Yeah, 110 I'm still probably taking, and that is my hard line. So to round out the top 5, I've got Isaac Heaney and Nick Dacos. Nick Dacos would be a great one, but he obviously plays the same game as Max Gawn, so obviously you got to pick between the two.
Yep.
I'm going Gawn. Isaac Heaney's an interesting one. He's got one of the best matchups against Geelong for midfielders.
Yeah.
I do think there's a little bit of a risk, though, of him getting clanced by Blitzarves. So, again, a good VC option because they're giving up the most points to midfielders Geelong are. So, if there isn't a tag, you can obviously expect a bit of a ceiling score. He's gone over 123 times this year, so it does have a bit of a ceiling. But I don't know if I'd want to roll into him as a C because of the risk of that tag, like we saw Tom Green get sort of clamped by Blitzarves. He's sort of that bigger body kind of player. So I think that's right in Blitzarves' hitting zone. The other thing I didn't touch on with Rowan Marshall as well, he, last year actually, I don't know if you remember this one, Luke, but Rowan Marshall went up against Ned Moyle, which is the reason why he's so high up. Ned Moyle, he had 107 points at three-quarter time against Ned Moyle and then was subbed off that game, which was
Moyle.
last year. So
we need a Moyle sound grab.
Yeah, 100%. So he's been giving up a lot of points. English went 112 against him. Toby Conway went 94 against him. And previously, Sean Darcy has also rucked against Ned Moyle for 118 points as well. So a lot of decent scoring there against Moyle. So I think Ron Marshall will reward his owners. For, 6 through 10, I've got Errol Goulden in that same matchup. He could really feast. Another really good VC option, I think, with a bit of a ceiling if the tag does go to someone like Heaney.
The good thing about putting it on Errol Goulden at any point is he's trying.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to be demanding that footy. He's going to be calling it out and yelling at other players if they don't give it to him. Jordan Dawson was there at number 7, which obviously you'd be very happy with.
Yep.
If you want to go for someone tonight, if you're a slut for a Friday night VC,
It's fun. We've had some beers.
We've had some
you get
beers,
to
if
you're
you
either
lose.
cheering or you're abusing. It's fun either way.
I'm going Zorko. Dunkley would be a better captain option, I reckon.
Okay.
But I want to go the VC on a Zorko.
Try and get a 180.
Get that ceiling. He's gone.
You don't
for-
normally do that. You don't normally do the old, like, I'm
Yeah,
going for a big VC.
I feel really good about those sort of top guys. So I'm going to chase a bit of a ceiling here with a Zorko. Then at number 9, I've got Dunkley. And rounding out the top 10, I have Sam Walsh, who has been ultra consistent this season. So lots of good options. I actually think
Absolutely.
that top 7 options there, I like a lot of them.
Yep.
So that's why I'm really chasing the ceiling and the VCs this week. So for me, it's going to be Flanders into Max.
And you know I'm a slave to the big boys, mate. I'm going there as well. You want to play your sound grab on the way out?
Oh, shit. I haven't got it queued up, so you've absolutely cooked
It
me
is
there.
worth waiting for. It's always worth waiting for.
I need a big boy. Give me a big boy.
Yes, get it. Now, we had a couple of super chats come in through the big boy segment. Don't worry, we didn't miss you there, Jared. So, Jared, appreciate the super chat. He's got a question. Mitch,
Yes.
I'll throw it to you, mate.
All right, hit me.
Hey, fellas, tossing up on my third trade, either Wilson to Dunks, okay, no cash left, or Closey
Fucking good trade.
to McMuffin, if not the sub, and then cash in 660K for next week. Already bringing in Goulden and got Dowling last night.
Just go the upgrade.
Okay, so we're going to have
Get in
don't bother
Dunkley.
cashing
yeah,
up.
no, get in Dunkley. Get
660K, that's a lot to cash up.
Yeah, it seems a bit excessive.
Especially when you've got 3 trades next week.
Get Dunkley, who's going to be unique. I think he's the best 8 mid. You're getting a round 12 guy in, so
Yep.
he's got 3 opportunities to help you out through the buys. So
Yep.
I reckon do that. Wilson could go down in cash over the next week or so. So
That's awesome. Bringing Dunks and Goulden into your team and you got Dowling last night.
fucking hell, that's a week, I reckon.
Let's go, Jared. Okay. And one more there from Tim as well. Should I go to Tom Powell instead of Sexton, given Powell plays 3 times in the bye rounds? Can't get Zork. Have Fisher, Heaney, Caldwell, and Flanders. Already,
Yeah,
I don't know if
Tom Powell.
I don't want to be trading into Tom Powell.
I mean,
But not having Sexton at the moment feels a bit yucky.
yeah, I don't think I'd go Sexton now, though, with the round 14 bye,
Yeah.
literally on the bye next week.
Would there be a
and
way?
Then you've got the other Powell coming in.
Kapow!
Lots of Powell's gone along here. But I don't know if I'd go into Tom Powell. I think I'd be shopping other areas. Could you go a midfielder?
Exactly. That's where my head went, was like, I know that maybe you want to shop in your forward line, but can you just kick that can down the road a little bit? Because then in a couple of weeks' time, you might have a forward option that you're looking for and
Yeah.
you build somewhere else in your team. So
And it might be a Sexton off his buy. But yeah, could you stretch and go to someone like, if you need someone cheaper, like an LDU or a Neil or one of those guys, like those guys that score more than Tom Powell.
I think that's where I'm at too. At a time where everyone's looking to trade someone out or has just traded someone out, I don't think you want to be then bringing that person in.
Yeah. I think I'd be looking elsewhere. I don't think I'd be wanting to bring in Tom Powell. But if you're looking for someone cheaper, I'd also then explore maybe trading out someone more expensive.
Yeah.
Look at your other options to trade out to get a better option.
get
Because
someone you
I'd feel pretty dirty bringing in Tom Powell at this point.
Yeah, no, agreed on that one. Okay,
Send us
mate.
any questions, guys. So if you have a question, drop them in the comment section below. If you want a 100% guaranteed success rate of getting them answered, pop in a super chat there. Tim Andrews just followed up saying he doesn't have the DPP, so that makes it a little bit harder. Tim, mate. Tim.
Hitting us with the big ones, Tim. No wonder it was a super chat. How about I talk about some spicy takes while you do a little
True,
bit of
yes,
digging
we've got to do spicy takes.
for Tim. We all love a
gotta do some
spicy
spicy
take. So
takes.
make sure that you drop yours in the comments below.
Hey, all right.
I only got one Maraca out in time.
Spicy take, mate. What have you got this week?
I just had a little bit of a sneaky peek at what's going on this weekend, and somebody that you've been hot on for many moons that just hasn't had the role that we like. I reckon Dylan Moore's going to make us ask the question next week.
Yeah.
I reckon he's coming off a huge score. I know there was 5 goals in it, but I just reckon he's ready to pop, and I reckon next week we're going to be asking ourselves in a forward line that is somewhat shit.
Yeah.
We're going to be saying, hey, is this a guy we can trade into?
Yeah, I don't mind
So-
that. I mean, he can do anything. He's a guy that scores with the role, without the role, doesn't matter.
Correct. And the way the Hawks are playing at the moment, I kind of wish I was a bit of
So they're the
golden
Giants.
brown rather than yellow and black.
Yeah. Who is that game at? At GWS, or is that...
Hawks are first team listed, so I'm going to go at the G unless they're playing it somewhere else. But that's my spicy take for the week.
Oh, I think it's at Tassie, actually, now that I think about it.
Hey, I don't mind their chances down there.
All right, give me those Barrackers. I think this is going to be a big round for everyone, and I think this is going to be a high-scoring round. And I think last week some teams were scoring 1700s, 1800s, 1900s. I think this week par is going to be around that 2,000 mark. I think there's going to be a lot of high-scoring premiums. There's a lot of juicy matchups this week. We've all got 22, 21, sometimes 23 or 24 players there to choose from.
You haven't been hitting pars, mate. You've been fucking birdies and eagles only. That's the wrong sport. I just made a golf reference, and you just hit a just hit a pull shot. I won't have it.
People wouldn't see it if I was down too
I will
low,
not have, and you made the cricket sound effect too. You just
What's the difference?
It's all right. What's the difference?
As in the sound.
We're going to get cancelled.
What's the sound difference?
Sound difference? My God. Where have you been living? It was a good pull shot. No worries. Like, you hit it for 6, but you didn't have to tee it up. I'll tell you that for free. We'll leave the sports metaphors
But anyway, I think 2,000 is going to be par, and I think we're all going to be feeling good and maybe frustrated that our rank doesn't move when we've all scored 2,000 points.
Bro, if my rank doesn't move and I don't own Luke Ryan or Jordan Clark, you don't want to see me on Monday. I'll tell you that for free.
I'm going to go back to Tim Andrews' question here. I think I still wouldn't go Tom Powell. I would try and maybe potentially take the hit this week and look for a more value option. Go real cheap. Maybe it's a rookie or something like that, and then maybe look to do a double upgrade next week. I really don't feel comfortable bringing in someone like a Tom Powell, who I think has every chance to sort of barely outscore some of these rookies anyway. So I think I'd be cashing up.
Even when he said he didn't have the DPP, then maybe it's considering trade someone else that you didn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, maybe. I'd be trying to avoid getting in Tom Powell, personally. So
that's a tough one.
Chris has got a question.
Yeah. What's Chris's question, Mitch?
He's asking, getting in Heaney can do 2 up, Zorko or Errol. My midfield is a bit light, but I can easily get Errol next week. Love the content, guys. Thank you, Chris. Errol or Zorko? He says his midfield's a bit light.
I know you're considering Zorko for the extra week, and I think it's wise.
Yeah. So of the 2 players,
if the answer is that you can easily get Errol in next week, but you can't easily get Zorko in next week.
Well, it would be the same, because either you're getting in Errol and you've got extra cash left over, or you're trading up and getting Zorko and got not much cash over.
Unless they're factoring in like a price change.
Yeah, but Zorko's got the high break even. He's a break even of 127.
So he should drop. Errol
so he should be at least a similar price.
So you can get Errol next week. Errol for the matchup.
You can also get Zorko next week. Would be my thoughts.
Errol for the matchup then.
So that's where I would go. And then you sort out your midfield.
But unfortunately, Chris, I'll be rooting against you if you do that, because Zorko's going 180 tonight. So.
Oi, okay. Moz. All right. So I think I'd go Errol there. But you sound like you're more keen on Zorko.
Well, is it because I'm forced to own the motherfucker?
Maybe. Errol's higher on the big boys.
I'm forced to like a guy that I've never liked.
Yeah, that's where you went wrong.
It's been 2 years since we did the very first one of these podcasts, and the first thing you said was, "What's your number one rule in fantasy?" And I said, "Hey, Mitch, nice to be on the podcast. My first rule is pick players that you like." And ever since then, all I've done is pick players that I don't fucking like. And there's a reason
did pick Dacos last year.
Correct. There's a reason I'm not driving a Hilux, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Fuck off.
MJ has got a pick here. Who's your craziest Smokey pick for the rest of the season?
Like, as in pick now, Smokey that will just pop?
Someone you think that's like
Timmy T's not getting enough airtime. And I said this before. Like, you can vouch for me. Yeah. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I said, bro, Tim Taranto, this guy has nothing to play for except stats.
Yep.
He's going to be literally the only, when I say the only midfielder, like he's playing in a decimated team.
My guy, I'm going to go Bailey Dale. I think Bailey Dale...
That's not a Smokey.
No one's talking about him enough.
No one's talking about him.
I reckon we should be talking about him more. I think he's a top 3 defender option.
We talking about him like 2 weeks ago, saying like...
Other pods, they're sleeping. They're sleeping on him. So maybe he's not a crazy one.
You got to put your money where your mouth is there.
I'll have to think about another one. But I think Bailey Dale needs more love as someone who's averaging over 107 when you take out those sub games.
Why have we still got the spicy take thing on? Let's erase the spicy take. I think it's time for questions, Mitch, is it? Or am I jumping the gun there?
Yeah, we're answering these questions. What do you mean?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were just answering super chats. It's just time. Get all your questions in there. If you want to pop it as a super chat, there is a guarantee we'll get to it. And I think we have had another super chat sneak in here. So, shh. Schnall? Is that a double L?
Soel?
Is that an O?
There's no.
Jeez.
You need glasses.
I
mate.
probably need glasses. Read me the question, Mitch.
Love the content, guys. Crouch, Reed, Wilson for Green, Fish, and Hind. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. What are your thoughts on Hindy? He's a very interesting case.
I do prefer the front. It is just my preference. No, I haven't even given Hind some thought, but I know you have a little bit, so you're best placed to answer this one.
Yeah, he's so awkward. He's got the bye in next week. Break even of 8. If he scores, let me bring up the price projector and see what his score. So he went 90 last week. Let's say he scores another 80 this week. I'd imagine he's going to go up like 60 to 70k.
It defies the logic of trading guys
Green,
in
Fish,
off the
Hind.
bye.
I like
doesn't it?
Green and Fish. I want to know if there's a better player that you can get in than Hind. So tell us how much cash you've got, and I'll see if I can find another trade option for you than Hind. But it could be a 1 week play. So say he scores 80, he goes up 50k this week. What do you reckon about Hind? Is he a guy that is he out of the vest at least for this week? Is he someone we can trust the role of?
Is there a case to be made that even if there are those question marks, because of the time of the year that we're at, and literally given that, like you said, he has a bye next week anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you're trading him next week.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, why not take a punt?
Yeah.
Well, what's the worst case scenario? His score drops off.
Yeah. And he just generates
if he's the
cash
starting
for you.
sub, you know it before the game, so you pivot.
Yeah. The risk would be, say you get Carnage this week,
and then you
and
can't
you've
trade
got
him.
like a few more higher priority trades, and he's just left sitting there, and he comes back in round 15, he's a sub again or something like that. That's a risk. I think that's a low level risk,
percentage,
but it's still a risk.
I like the upside.
Maybe could you do instead of a Wilson to Hind, just do another rookie to another rookie kind of situation?
Because you're kind of saying Wilson's every chance of outscoring him anyway.
Just hold Wilson, and he's going to play 2 games to Hind's 1 of the next 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, look, potentially. I don't so much mind it because I love Green in, I love Fish in, and I think Hind is coming off 2 decent scores, and I think there's every chance that, you get a ceiling score, and maybe that gives you a leg up, but there's a little bit of that, like, not insurance, but if shit goes wrong, it's the bye rounds. So,
yeah.
Another question coming in here. This is Nicholas. Trade Stewart or Closey to Goulden. Now, I'm kind of... Stewart... So, Geelong have Sydney.
Geelong, yes.
So, who do you think goes to Stewart?
Oh, well, it's James Jordan.
So, you're trading Stewart before you trade Closey.
Stewart's got to go. Stewart's got to go. He's
just
been a shell of himself.
Stewart and Whitfield at the moment are guys with just proper tag targets on their back for what they've done. So, anytime you look at anything to do with GWS,
they're both
Geelong,
at the bye next week, but
you got to consider that they've got a bit of a target on their back, depending on the team that they're coming up against. For sure,
Stewart hasn't gone over 90 since round 3.
It's killer.
That is absolutely killer
for a guy that you bought as a premium. Fuck me.
He's had 200s on the season, rounds 2 and 3. That was it. The rest have been all below 90. So yeah, I think he's got to go. I'm going him first. I've got 680 in the bank, boys. Sohail, the other guy I was going to mention here, I'm sorry if I'm fucking butchering your name. I definitely am. If you want to be really bold, I don't know if it has to be a forward, but Darcy Tucker coming off his bye. He's got a 26 break even, has the West Coast Eagles just coming off a 132 and an 82. He goes West Coast, Collingwood, Melbourne in his next 3 rounds. I think I'd rather go Darcy Tucker than someone like a Nick Hind. If you're feeling a bit spicy and you want to get someone in with a low break even, I think that's where I would go. So
beautiful. VC on dunks is a bit of a pod. You're Mr. Big Boy. Ticking it off?
I tick it off. I think it's fine. I think there's... The thing with dunks is he's been such a high floor guy.
Yeah.
He's gone the 150 against Gold Coast when they had no one on the bench. So that game's it feels like a little bit of an anomaly. And the other games he's gone over 120. He's done a 126 and a 123. One was in round 1, one was in round 5. So he kind of just sits in that 100 to 115 range every single week. So to me, I'm probably chasing someone that I feel like has a bit more ceiling
Yeah.
as a VC. But I think he'll be good for 110, I think it's a pretty safe bet. So depends on, I guess, what you're looking for.
This is an interesting sort of question or statement from Dassep. So it says, wouldn't Holmes be more of a target for James Jordan? Now, I reckon this is kind of like more of a footy question as well.
That's a good question.
It is a great question. Now, Max Holmes has obviously been providing everything bounce, but it can't, I think, be underestimated what stopping Tom Stewart does to Geelong defensively.
Yeah.
Because...
And the evidence or the results have been there, hasn't it?
Offensively, if you look at Tom Stewart versus Max Holmes, you're taking Max Holmes every day of the week.
Yeah.
The bounce, the run, the break the lines, all this kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is that Geelong are hard to score against when Tom Stewart's playing his best football. And if you negate that, suddenly you've got an avenue to score. So,
and I think Holmes has got more strings to his bow in terms of he can go in the midfield, he can play off halfback, and even if he's being tagged, he can have an impact. Whereas if you tag Tom Stewart, he's doing nothing.
I think so
eliminated.
Too. But there is every chance, so that'll be an interesting watch. I think it's a good point to bring up anyway. LDU and Cash or Sheasel? Don't talk to me about Sheasel.
Jeez.
Jesus.
I'm at this stage, I'm always getting the player in rather than just holding Cash for the sake of holding
cash. So you
cash.
get Shees? Fuck.
He's coming off. Did Simpkin get named again for the Kangas? Because that will be interesting in terms of if he affects... Yeah, he's coming back in. Lazaro's been omitted.
Just another bloke on my bench. What the fuck is Lazaro still doing on my bench?
Why are you still...
Shows how shit my team is.
Traded him out round 2. I still think Shees will be a top 6 defender. Or at least there or thereabouts. Top 6, 7, 8. I reckon get him in. Just get the points on your field while it's there. Like Cash is not going to help you score this week.
There's so many top 6 defenders. I reckon there's like 10 guys.
I think there's about 7 guys. So there's like...
No, you've said... I reckon both of us have said it about 10 guys. There's top 6 defender. Let's go through. So Nick Dacos, Luke Ryan, Nick Martin, Hayden Young, Jordan Clark, is Bailey Dale. I'm already at 6. Who else are we looking at?
Sheasel.
Sheasel, you've just said.
Those are my 7. That's my 7. That's it.
Get the Wang in there.
Wang,
juicy Wang.
He's a step off.
Juicy Wang.
He's a step off.
There's got to be someone else I'm missing as well. Sinclair's every chance.
Whitfield.
Whitfield's still sitting in our teams. There's guys.
Crisp. There's a few, isn't there?
I'm going to start trading defenders into my midfield.
Well, actually, this is a question. No one's asked this, but
I'd rather have Crisp and fucking Took Miller sitting in my midfield. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the question. Do we need 8 mids?
Not the way they're going this year.
Do we need... Is the worst...
Well, list your 8 mids then.
Averaging midfielder better
than the 7th averaging defender?
Than the 7th, 8th averaging defender.
We're sidetracked, but I like this. Tell me your top 8 mids. Go. Tell me, and I'll tell you. I reckon the 8th that you pick, I reckon I'd rather a defender.
The mids are still
okay,
there.
go. Tell me
So, Merritt... Actually, hold on. Let me get up my list.
That's got Merritt.
Merritt, Sarong, Dunkley, Walsh. I think I'm pretty strong with those 4.
Okay, yeah.
Dawson.
Yeah. 3 to go.
Bont. He just got 159.
Yeah, fucking good work.
Fucking Wang's not doing that.
Wang would love
Jack
169.
Steele, Errol Goulden. Like, are you taking Errol Goulden or are you taking...
Like Jack Crisp.
Like Crisp. You're taking Errol Goulden.
Okay, you're probably taking Errol Goulden. I'm just saying it's not far off. It's not far off.
It's closer than it's ever been. I'll give you that. It's closer than it's ever been. And you're not like scrambling to make sure you've got no defenders in your mids, but you still got to... Those best mids are still the best players, I think. Especially as we get into those... it's getting colder, mate. Like, I'm putting jumpers on.
Cuddle weather?
Yeah, cuddle weather, mate.
It is getting cold.
Jack Steele's having 8 tackles in bloody a quarter.
Yeah.
0 in the one before, but, that new tackling rule, maybe it's...
fucking cold, eh? My hamstrings just about fall off the bone getting off the couch these days too.
Yeah.
But also... No, I won't say that. Don't worry about that.
Shout out to Bales. Agree. Everyone, smash that like button. There's 250 of yous in
What did
here.
Bales
Let's
say?
get to 250 likes. So he's just pumping up the crowd over there. He's our hype
Bales.
man. So
What a legend.
yeah, make sure you guys give the old like button a little hit there. I've heard if you give the like button on this video a press, then your round's going to go better. That's what I've heard. So yeah, I think
It's in your best interest for everyone to have a shit round, mate. You want to be driving a shiny Hilux.
Yeah, well, I'll have a good round anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, so what do you reckon? Do one more question?
Let's do a few more questions, hey?
Okay. Thoughts on Sharp, Wilson, and Reed to Zorko, Fish, and Dowling? Oh,
Win.
That's a brag. Yes, Tony,
that's good.
Those are great trades.
Get on it, Tony.
What else we got here? What do you think about Logan Morris with a break-even of 0 this week and off the bye? Logan Morris, I'm pretty sure he's had some really shitty scores in there, but I could be wrong. Oh, no, he said it had a 33-20, but then his last two have been 54-63 off his bye round.
Western Bulldogs, St Kilda, Port Adelaide.
Might not be the worst shout. Just double check he's not the vest, but you'll know tonight, obviously. Make sure he's not the sub. Might not be the worst shout.
I think I like what he does. Am I right in saying he's got a little bit of the key forwards about him?
Yeah, I think
Can be somewhat volatile.
So he's kicked 1, 2, 2, 2 goals in his last 4 games. So
Yeah.
he's not a high possession getter.
It's one of those ones, if it goes well, it goes well. But if he doesn't see much pill or he doesn't kick goals, then you could be looking at 30.
He had a 20 and 68% time on ground.
Am I right in saying he was the young fella that played a full game in the Scoobies and then got called up to the ones the week he debuted?
That could have been him.
Yeah. Fucking, what a good story that is.
About right. Yeah. So I have a sneaking suspicion he's going to be the sub tonight. So double check that that's not the case, but we'll see. Are you trading Closey and Wilson over Bonner and Fife?
Fifey?
Fife has got to go.
Can I mix the combinations up? Bonner
reckon,
and Fife. Was it Reed? Reed and Wilson?
No, Closey and
Closey
Wilson.
and Wilson.
Bonner and Fife.
I'm trading Bonner and Fife. Just to keep Wilson. Not so much on the Closey thing. I would, because I said before that I would keep.
Fuck, he hasn't made
Bro,
much money.
He gives me 118s, bro. Because I would still rather hold Bonner than Closey, but in the situation where I have to get rid of Wilson.
I think you got to get rid of Fife.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I would rather keep Wilson to get rid of Fife, even if
yeah.
it means getting rid of Bonner.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, that's the move there.
Yeah, get Bonner off.
Harvey reckon that is him. He was the guy that. What'd you say? I missed that one.
Oh, I said get Bonner off. I'm underappreciated on this podcast.
Over my head. See, Vales, it's not just you that I don't listen to. It's this prick as well. All right. Do you go McMullen or Dawson over Angwin if one of them are not sub to bank the cash?
McLovin.
Well, either one of McMullen or Angwin won't be the sub.
Penguin?
Pangwang.
Penguin. Who's that?
That's Lando.
I thought it was...
It's a Pangwang.
Is it?
Oh, no,
I thought it was
you're
Benedict
thinking of Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
The Penguin.
The Pangwang. He does like
What's the Pangwing?
He does like 6 different iterations. And
in the space of 30 seconds.
yeah, bloody good video. Go check it out. But anyway, McMullen or Dawson over Angwin.
Penguin.
Well, the problem with Dawson is you're not going to know if he's the sub until after that Giants game starts. So if you bypass the Giants guys thinking you're getting Dawson, then later discover that Dawson's then the sub, well, then you're fucked. You've lost all 3 of them. So I'd be just going the Giant that isn't the sub and locking that in.
Penguin.
This monkey just like smashing tambourines going aside that brain.
Tambourines.
What are they called?
Cymbals.
Cymbals? No, isn't that the try? No, cymbals are the...
I think that's cymbals.
Yeah, okay, right.
Tambourine, that's a mountain.
Oh, that's the... I was thinking of the shape.
Tangerine.
Tangerine.
Is it? No, that's a fruit.
Fuck me, I don't know. Google this.
Okay, I better Google it.
I'm all over the place today. The beer's hitting me too hard.
So tambourine is a mountain. Get confirmed.
It is.
Tangerine.
Is that the instrument? What's the instrument
home,
with the
home
the
broadband
shaky
network?
things?
That's a maraca. It's behind you.
No, and it's got the thing you hit as well. What's those ones? Fucking hell, did you not do music at school?
I was playing the triangle in the back row, bro.
Yeah, well, it's not that. All right, we're digressing. Let's do one more question. This
Okay.
podcast is going off the rails. Who do you
Hopefully it's frozen and no one can actually see this.
Mate, we are unmozzable with these technical difficulties. Who do you trade out first? Closey, Wilson, or Bonner? Think cash. What's that? That heart's blocking that thing. What's
Oh,
it say
sorry.
there?
Humble brag.
Cash loss versus ceiling this week. Well, Bonner's got the ceiling.
Yep.
Cash loss. What's Closey's break even? He'd
90.
He had a stinky one, 79. Wilson, I think he's got the highest at 80 something. He's got an 89. I'd be trading Closey first of those three, I reckon.
Yep. I want to keep Wilson, and I'm keeping Bonner for the ceiling on the bye rounds.
Yeah. Wilson in his line.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't
good
think
enough.
Closey's giving you like the potential 120 that Bonner could
Yeah.
on a great day.
Tambourine is an instrument. He's
It is.
got my back.
Fuck.
Don't make me look like a fool in front of these guys.
Tony, you could have just sided with me and make Mitch look like an idiot. But it's definitely a mountain.
It is also a mountain. Things can mean two different things, Luke.
Well, if you Google it and the first thing that comes up is a mountain, I don't want to know about the rest of it.
All right, that's going to do it because this is going downhill. Let's
We got to
finish
get
it up
prepped
there,
for the
guys.
fantasy fanatics.
Yes, so jump on over there, guys, after this one. If you want more of our ramblings about tambourines and tangerines, you can check us out over there. If you want actual questions answered, go to askmeonq.com.au/ballboys and shoot me through a question over there, and I will get through to them and answer those ones. Hopefully get them in. Maybe just shoot me a Twitter tag if it's very relevant for tonight, because we'll see how I go, because obviously I'm jumping on this Fanatics stream. But if it's super urgent, message me on Twitter and I'll try and get there before the game starts off if you've got a question on that one. Otherwise, good luck with your round, guys. Hope the big boys go big and you captain them. If you go against the big boys list, then hopefully it doesn't go well for you guys. I don't know. And hopefully you guys
Good way to sign off, mate.
have a big round, guys.
Bring the community
Hit that
together.
like button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.